Hi, everybody. What's up? Good evening. And it's almost, I guess, for a lot of people, it's the start of a weekend, right? So that's pretty cool. I'm trying to save my voice here. A little lemon juice. And okay, so I want to talk about a lot of things. I'm not going to talk that long. I've got the end of the month, so I'm basically working very hard, in my opinion. And so I just want to stay focused here quickly. But I really have to react to a lot of things right now. There's a lot of things we have to talk about. One of which is this automotive. And well, first of all, a couple things are in order, in my opinion. First of all, as usual, this live stream or my live show is sponsored by Melon and very cool. Everything I'm saying is all my personal opinion. Please check all the disclaimers in the video description on YouTube. But I want to say very quickly here, hey, congratulations to Drew Benson of the Cavalli Auto Group, 40 under 40. We interviewed him. And you can check out that video on my, on LinkedIn, really. LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, I think it's everywhere. So you can check that out. I saw some pictures of Drew and a short video of Drew accepting the award at the NADA conference in Dallas, which is awesome. I know Gina Walsh is there, the Executive Manager of Retail Operations for Cavalli Auto Group, and of course our owner. President Bruce Cavalli is out there as well. So it's just a tremendous event right now. Very proud moment for all of us, colleagues, friends, family, everyone for Drew, and that's awesome. So I want to say congratulations to Drew for that. Now, somewhat related, kind of just related by people, really, not really by subject. I saw this Ziegler Alpha Dog podcast with Gino Walsh and Bruce Sutherland, and it's very interesting. Also, comments. I can take comments live here on YouTube. I'll see them over here. I'm not seeing my LinkedIn. I will respond to those later. Same thing with the Facebook. And we had some other people involved as well. And the subject was vendors versus partners in the automotive space. And, I think there was some reaction to Bruce Sutherland of Sutherland Automotive and, rapidly growing from what I can tell. I don't know. But I see the post on Facebook and, LinkedIn. And I know Christina Flores is down there now. And there's a lot of activity. And I've seen some stuff with Andy Elliott there. And so, Bruce seems to be very engaged, which is cool. I love that. And I think I like the forward lean. I like the powerful marketing stance from a group and automotive and ownership. I think I dig it. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And there's a lot of stuff going on. But Bruce said something to the effect, and I caught it like, hey, this vendor, I know it's holidays. I'm going to get this. This is all my personal opinion. This is a recollection. I'm super busy. I'm not alleging anything. I'm not saying this is a quote. This is my just rough paraphrase of what I thought was going on. That if a vendor doesn't do this or isn't responsive or he's trying to give him this $1 million deal, whatever it is, something like that, hey, it's disappointing or potentially disqualifying or what's going on. Oh, hey, what's going on? Okay, let's. Hey, Pearl, how you doing? Very good. Jackie. Okay, very cool. Good to see you. So, and then that got into this conversation, and I think Ziegler had something to say, and it was vendors versus partners or NADA, and we talked about all the tchotchkes and the booths and the presentations and the parties and the meetings and the pitches and what's the right way to pitch, and our automotive vendors, are they vendors, are they partners, and should the principals see this or should the GM see this, and what level do you come in at? I only deal with the dealer principals, or I only deal with it's okay to deal with the GM, or I have someone, if I'm a dealer, I have someone screen these out. And there's this conversation back and forth. This went on for about an hour. And listen, don't get me wrong. First of all, who am I? Okay, I'm nobody, right? I'm just somebody. As I say, I just know a lot of things. I know a lot of people, right? And I'm just trying to give my perspective. But I think it's a very interesting perspective because I'm someone who's been a venture capitalist. So someone who's, the resume is very long and thick in my opinion, and people get sick of me sort of repeating that, but I think it bears repeating. Berkeley undergrad, Berkeley Law School, MBA with honors from Johns Hopkins, right? A super top, great institution. And that program is building very rapidly. And of course, Master's of Communication and lots of experience, right? In Silicon Valley and the greats of the greats and blah, blah, blah. And I've crushed it in the automotive world for my level and what I've done. Could have moved up faster, could have done different things, but I always have other goals, other things I'm going to try and do. It's not about me. I'm just setting the table. The point is that I come at this with very fresh eyes, if you will, a different perspective, seeing some of the best leaders, seeing some of the best high growth companies, doing more with less, being able to disrupt industries, seeing automotive being disrupted and being someone that is super smart and is ahead of the game, and also has crushed it in the automotive space. So it's not like, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. It doesn't mean I'm the best. I'm not saying it's not about me. What I'm just saying, I'm just giving a perspective. This will be important in a second. Table that. Think about this. I thought, with all due respect to Mr. Ziegler and Mr. Sutherland and everyone there, I thought Gino's comments were great. And I'm not, and again, as I said this before, of course, yes, he's my boss and yes, he's a friend, but like I've always said, I think Gino, from what I've seen, I've met a lot of people. I think he is the best mind, and we don't always agree. And sometimes most times he comes around to my way of thinking. Sometimes I come around to his way of thinking, but I think he's the best mind and operator that I've seen in automotive because of the combination of great execution and chops, if you will, in terms of automotive, but also understanding and being open and being a student and learning and knowing that I need to get this tech piece. I need to get the disruption. I see what Elon is doing, and I'm not speaking for him. I'm speaking for my impression, and trying to get where I come from his way into automotive and into modern retail and all the rest of it, et cetera, like that. And again, as I like to say, I don't think Gino's great because I like him. I like him because he's great, right? And a great person and everything like that. So I hope that makes sense. And again, I'm not, of course I work for him, and of course I work for the Cavalli Auto Group, but I work for them for reasons. But I don't want to get too deep, but all of this is going to be relevant. So when I looked at this conversation, and I'm not trying to be like a punk, it's fine on its surface and on its level, but I thought it totally missed the mark. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Like, I get it. I get where Brett's coming from. I totally get that. I do, because Silicon Valley, it's 24/7, it's 365, it's a pace, it's a speed. Not for everybody. Not saying everybody needs to sign up for that. Not saying you need to impose that on other people, but I get it. Okay? And I think the pandemic and other things have caused people to kind of rethink and reset, like, hey, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be working all the time. Maybe I need to see my relatives. I need to take that trip. I need to do whatever, right? What's the one thing, what's the saying go, that we can't get back, or that, is time, right? And there's only a finite amount of it. And for, a lot of times you don't know how much you have, right? So I don't say that anyone's right or wrong in their approach. I don't begrudge anyone anything. Everyone's got to go their path and do their thing, and I respect that. So I get where Brett's coming from. I get where everyone's coming from, the vendors, and I get it. But I think it totally misses the mark, and this is part of the problem with automotive. And I know it's a little bit of a long setup, but it's very important. And that is this. Look, it doesn't matter, right? And this is late at night. I had a long day, so set up a bunch. What a day I had, right? I think I set up like 6, 7, 8 appointments. I don't know. It's crazy. Well, we'll get into that in a second. That's later. That's my stuff later. All right. I'm gonna have updates on what I'm doing. I'm gonna have talk market. I'm gonna have analysis. We're shoving a lot of stuff into this show, but I wanted to hit this first. I think it misses the mark, and here's what I mean by that. It does not matter. First of all, you don't want to set up these artificial barriers yourself. Oh, I do it this way. The dealer principal deals with everything. No. The GM deals with everything. Oh, no. I have this person who's reading. If they don't do a video, if they do, and then I've got the 20, and then my person does the 20, and then I get the 3 and the top 3. It was this kind of talk, and I'm like, with all due, what are you talking about? How does this make any sense? And here's what I mean by that. What on earth is your strategy? What is your strategy? Like why? Why do you need a vendor? You need a vendor because you don't have these competencies in-house. You don't have these competencies in-house because you're not hiring for it, because you don't think that you can do it. It's a make versus buy, right? And if you don't make and you have to go outsource and buy, and I'm not saying don't outsource, don't have vendors. I'm not saying that, because there's certain expertise. You just can't build it all internally. But when you can't build it all internally, it's a very similar thing of why you would have a chief legal, a legal counsel or marketing or fill in the blank, right? Or CFO. If you don't have some competency internally, and I think so many automotive dealerships, agency, everything are just completely missing the mark on this. If you don't have a level of tech, think of how crucial technology, communications, digital media is to every single automotive dealership out there. I'm not going to say every single, but I mean like say a vast majority. And if you do not have those capabilities in-house, you do not understand what's going on out there or how to do it. So if you have an in-house legal counsel, this is the Fortune 500, 100, everything. If you have internal in-house legal counsel, I've done that. I've played that role. I've been, I played that role of, corporate counsel, in my opinion. General counsel to companies, because you need to then direct and understand, and then how to outsource. It's like if a friend took me to go buy, if I go with a friend to go buy a car, I can help them out. I know what to say, I know what to do, I know what to think, I know where it's at. I can give them some relevant advice. I understand it. It's the same process here. Okay, so where am I going with this? And fill in the blank, CFO, marketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where I'm going with this is, all this talk about vendors misses the mark in that you have to start, and this absolutely should start when you don't have these capabilities in-house. You are absolutely beholden. Oh, hold on a second. Miguel, what's going on? What's up? Hey, good to see you. Miguel from Audi Lakeland, one of our stores there at the Cavalli Auto Group, which is awesome. We leave that up. When you don't have these capabilities in-house, and I have some news about Audi Lakeland and radio, all kinds of stuff. We're going to save that here for a little bit. Then you're at the mercy of these vendors and whatever claims and whatever process you don't know. So I think this analysis, whatever your process is, whether it's videos, dealer principal level, GM level, council, 20 group, everything like that. And here's the thing with the 20 groups. Nothing against 20 groups. I'm so sick of hearing about 20 groups. Great. If it works for you, fantastic. Not telling you not to do it. But what happens with 20? It's what everybody else is doing. Or someone told you, or a friend or a referral, whatever. If you want to be truly great and out there and at the tip of the spear and leading and disruptive, it's not what 20 other people are doing. It's what you're going to do. It's how you, and this is what I mean. This is the punchline right here. I guess 13 and a half minutes into this, but it's crucial to set this up, in my opinion. And again, no notes, no prep, late. What is your strategy? What are you trying to do? Why do you need to use vendors? And I'll use some concrete examples that I think will make the points. Why do you need vendors? What is your approach to vendors? And I think Gino made again, we agree. I mean, it's like, hey, it doesn't matter if someone, whatever, someone can hit you with something that you weren't expecting. And if it's a great idea, it's a great idea. Right. Yes. Bingo. Gino wins the prize. Correct. And I'm going to, that's what this show is. It's an extension of this type of stuff. Which is to say this. Let me give you concrete examples. I think that's the only way it's going to make, it's the best way to make sense of it for the, as fast as possible. If I am a dealership and I'm literally on an island, okay, wherever, like just in the fictional land, doesn't matter, right? Metaverse, what it doesn't, who knows? I have a dealership on an island, and it's 15 miles out to sea. Guess what? What am I going to have? But I have my own transport set up, whatever, and it all works. I have the business model works, where everything else, like whatever. I am not getting people coming to the dealership to test drive cars or whatever it is. Just roll with me for a second. My strategy has to be super heavy into what? Into digital, into what? Social media, into what? Internet, right? That's it. So therefore, if that's my strategy, if that's my paradigm, if you will, and I'm not just trying to pop off words here, I'm trying to make you think here, and you have to think strategically and then and figure out what your niche and competitive advantage is and how you're going to win in your lane. If that's my strategy, I'm looking for best of class in those things that are going to help me win that way on that internet business. So I want, no lost calls. I want the fastest response. I want to be able to bring the dealership into, to the customer. So I want heavy investment in podcasts, in live, in digital, in, video that I can send to the customer immediately, high quality video. I want branding. I want all these things I need to figure out, because I know I'm not going to get the foot traffic. I'm not going to get the up bus. I'm not going to get, billboards aren't going to work for me. All these other things aren't going to work for me. Flip that the other way. If I'm in the heart of the city, if I'm on a high-end super luxury brand, then I'm doing things a different way. I'm not doing the hard sell. We don't have the inflatable balloons. We're not spinning signs. We don't have the, whatever it is. We're not having the block party where we're going to the golf course. We're going to my strategy's different. We're going to the museum opening. We're going to the cars and coffee, whatever it is. So the talk about vendors versus partners misses the mark in several very important ways. And again, no disrespect to the very esteemed guests there. And I'd love to have a conversation with Ziegler, with Sutherland, whether it's live, whether it's one-on-one, whatever like that. I talk to Gino all the time, on the other esteemed guests, whatever like that, because we need to bring this industry forward. So I'm paying it forward. I'm giving it back. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And so you have to think about what is your brand? How are you going to win? Where are you going to take it? What is your strategy to win market share, to win the hearts and minds of customers, to win eyeballs, engagement, attention, all those things? What is your strategy to do that? For Brian Benstock, it was from what I understand, it was delivering cars. It was being able to reach the Manhattan market without being in Manhattan, right? Or the New York market, and of course win in New Jersey. So again, having that strategy. So I would think communication. So the vendors and the technology have to support that main strategy of how you're going to win. Once you know what your main strategy is to win, then you have to say, okay, what do I need to do that? So they don't need to send me anything. If I'm a dealer principal, if I'm a GM, if I'm a whatever, I'm going to them. I'm going to find out. It's my job. That's my job as a dealer principal. Oh, it's this person. And then some people say, okay, well, yeah, some dealer principals, they don't want to know automotive and they just want to be, then they should just be an investor. And that's a risky game, right? Do you invest in things? I'm not giving anyone in financial advice, any other kind of advice. Do you invest in things you don't know? What did Peter Schiff, one of the best investors, from I think, I want to say Fidelity, I'm going to get it wrong, I'm sure. Invest in things you know. Now, there's different people. There's technical advice. I'm not giving anybody any strategy, any advice, or whatever like that. I think it's a very risky game, especially if you want to be somewhat of an operator, like someone involved, like, hey, I have a GM, but I'm going to tell him what to do. Kind of a player coach, kind of a, whether it's if you use a football analogy, you're Jerry Jones. Yeah, okay, you own it, but you kind of get down to the field sometimes. You kind of, and you have the family involved, whatever. To any extent, I wouldn't put my money into something that I don't understand, number one. Number two, I would always do your, I'm going to give you advice. I always try to do my diligence, number one. But number two, to any extent that you're involved, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a game plan. It's my responsibility, certainly at any operation level. Platform manager, executive, whatever, GM, whatever, like you have to know what you're doing. Doesn't mean you need to know how to program, doesn't mean you know how to do videos or selfies or anything like that, but you need to understand it. You need to be able to go out there and learn. You need to understand who you need to hire and the best stuff. What is your strategy? If you do not know your strategy, forget it. Forget it. Good luck. Number one. Number two, once you know your strategy, you got to go out there and get it. You have to go out there and get the best of class to allow you to implement that strategy. And you're going to have to pay up for it. You're going to have to pay up for talent internally. I think you have to have internal talent. That's, again, I'm sort of arguing for my own book of business. But Miguel, if you do tomorrow as you do today. Nice. Thank you, Miguel. Appreciate that. Love it. Love the quote. That's what I'm saying. You need to be a student of the game. Too long in the automotive business, I don't think, from what I've seen, casually, I don't think that there's been a premium place, a value placed on education and degrees and continuing learning. The new generation, the up and coming people, Ben Stock, Cardona, they do. Andy Elliott, like they do. You've got to learn. You got to train. You got to build yourself. I mean, it's a business like any other business. Do not mistake. Do not confuse yourself. Do you think let's just listen to Elon Musk talk. I mean, I challenge you out there. Listen to him talk. You think he's not super smart? You think he doesn't understand his business? You don't think he doesn't understand markets? You think he's not constantly learning? You're crazy. Larry Ellis, just go on down the list. Bill Gates, go on down the list. Who do you think you are that you don't need to be educated? You don't need degrees. You don't need to learn. You don't need to challenge yourself, push yourself. Okay, so let's get back to the topic. If you do not understand your strategy, you cannot win. Once you understand your strategy, your responsibility is to go out there and get those tools to implement yourself. If you see someone with the better social media, better commercials, better Facebook, better SEO, better live video, whatever, why aren't you doing it? Why are you too lazy? Why do you think you have the luxury to say, I don't need it? I don't need to be on radio. I don't need to be on TV. I don't need to be, where are your customers? How can you reach them? If someone else is doing it better for cheaper, why aren't you doing it? Or better, or spending more money? It takes money to make money. In a down market is when you should be grabbing market share, is when you should be advertising more, is when you need to sell the value. That's when you need to really lean into it hard. If you have a showroom, I'll tell you this. Here's when you don't need to advertise. If you've got a showroom full of customers and a line full of customers and you're out of inventory, I guess you don't need to advertise as much at that point. If that's not you, and you've got a bunch of old age inventory sitting there and called used cars that are losing money potentially by the day, you might want to figure this stuff out. You might want to think about it. You might want to make some moves. You might want to get in front of customers. You might want to explain the value. And if I'm not at the dealership right here, right now, how do I know what's going on? I don't want to get distracted, but I want to hammer this point. I could have done a 5-minute show here. I could have done a 10-minute show, but I need to hammer this point to make sure people understand it. Once you know what you are trying to do, you then need to get the tactics of how you do it. You need to get the tools to do it. That's your vendors. If you don't have internal talent, you need internal talent, but everyone can't do everything, right? And the problem with the car business is you're on the treadmill constantly. You can't stop, think, breathe, think strategically, and make strategic moves. And then as far as your partners, I don't care what my 20 group says. I'm sorry, I don't. Unless it's just something. I'm not saying I won't listen to them. I am in no way, shape, or form relying on them. And quite frankly, not to be a punk, I don't need a 20 group. If that's for you, if you say, hey, John, okay, I'm willing to try it. But why do I not? Because I'm better than them. I want to be better than them. I'm going to learn how to be better than them. Maybe I need to go once, twice. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get ahead. I'm going to get beyond that. Right? I'm someone that has broken records. I'm someone that's been the top of the nation in like multiple things. So I don't want to know if you can show me that you are dramatically better, then I'll show up and I'll listen intently. If you can't show me that, I'm moderately to not interested. I don't again, this is all, to me, this is all fear and weakness. Like, oh, I can't do anything unless someone tells me, oh, I'm at this level, I'm at that level. There's so much pretend in the car business. I gotta wear a suit. I need my Ferragamos. I need my Bruno Maglis. I don't even know all the names. I don't care. I need my Louis V. I need this. I need that. Is that we're meeting the customer where they're at? I thought it's mounted in retail. Are your customers wearing Louis V? Are they wearing big suits? Did they got the Ferragamos on? I don't know. If you got a bunch of customers with that on, then maybe you should wear that. If you don't, what are you doing? Does that add value or does that create distance? This is what I'm talking about. What is your strategy? This is a people business. You have to add value. You have to think from the customer's perspective. So break through all the noise. What's my strategy? Is it working? Is it not? Am I getting growth? Am I producing results year over year? Am I ready for how this industry is disrupting and changing right now? Do I understand how Tesla is completely making moves in the luxury market, in the EV market? Tesla, I think I read a quote of something like 80% of the EV market. If I'm saying I'm going all in on EV as a manufacturer or as a franchise dealer, that's a scary proposition now. That's a serious competitor. How do I win there? Once I know what I need to do there, okay, great. Push forward. All my vendors, I need to go find those solutions. So let's say if I want to immediately, if I'm going to go heavy into used car inventory, right, and I can't rely on that great showcase tentpole video, I need something that I can have on my phone that I can just turn and burn very quickly. I don't want to name names here. I'm not promoting any, but I need something where I can get video to customers very fast, where I can text customers very fast, where I can have real-time communication, where I can have it on my phone. You don't want to, it's not, it's not to say that people have to work 24/7, whatever, but you need to have a high quality and immediacy of response to get the customers the information that they need. And you have to figure out, why is solution X better than solution Y? And some people, this is another tough subject. Some people are all about, this needs to integrate with this. We use this because everything works with this, but this isn't really that good. No, I don't like doing that. I want best of class in everything. Yeah, best of class is usually going to be able to be implemented by other things. And I think there's this need for control. I think there's this, and this is a longer, different conversation. I don't want to get too much into that, but if I were owning a dealership at a conceptual level, I would be perfectly again, I'm not going to sit out there and make a statement, but I think that, how about this? This is something to think about. If you had a CRM or system that integrates with most of everything else, but it really doesn't work that well, you have a lot of clunkiness, it's about a 50% solution, but it works with everything, and we keep everything tight, and we track everything, and we can run reports, and we can micromanage everything. Is that better, or is it better to use like tried and true and tested off-the-shelf solutions, like let's say a Microsoft Office 365, some of the great, things where you may have to do the one-offs or the two-offs or the three or whatever, but the total solution to the customer is like a 300%. Like I can send a high quality video and a PowerPoint and an Excel spreadsheet and a breakdown and the original Windows sticker and the RO and all these things, and the what's with the dealership and the directions and everything. That would be okay. Maybe I can't track every single data and I can't micromanage it, and maybe it's one extra step, but the end result to the customer is like a 300% solution and a higher quality solution, and my net conversion of, let's say, those internet phone leads, B-backs, moves up 50%. With happier customers. Isn't that a better solution? Isn't that the end of the day? I mean, we get lost in the weeds of these metrics and the fake KPIs and some of the real KPIs, all that. But in other words, we're not this is what I'm talking about. You're not stepping back and thinking, why am I using this? What am I trying to accomplish? Does it have a material, significant effect on my customers? Does it get me more customers? Does it allow me to get more deals? Does it up my conversion ratio? Does it up my profit per car? Does it up my CSI, my referrals? All these things. If it doesn't, what does it matter? I've seen so many different companies just manage data. I look like a champ on paper. Did you sell any cars? No, but on paper. Are you selling more cars? No, but on paper, like you see how many, see the active, like whatever, dude. It's the same thing with these vendors. We're going to do this. We're the best. My 20 group says this at NAD and this and blah, blah, blah. Is it working? Do you even know? And this goes back. If you don't have the in-house capabilities, if you don't understand the space, if you don't understand your strategy, how can you make it work? How do you expect it to work? Like nobody's stopping and thinking and asking like these basic questions. I think I've said enough about that. I hope I have. I'm happy to answer more questions. I'm happy to have further conversations. I'm happy to go out there, do some consulting and like I may be launching the digital marketing agency very soon. There's a lot of things in play. We'll talk about that in a second in the back end of the show. I'm going to talk about the radio show. I'm going to talk about everything. I'm at the 30-minute mark. I'm definitely not going longer than an hour. I'm going to call this probably 45 minutes is probably a good guess of how long I'm going to go tonight. All right. The next part of that I'll hit this quick. Vendor versus partner. Who cares? I get it. You want someone that's going to work with you and be there and care and this. Okay, that's cool. I'm not saying that's worthless. But at a very high 30,000, who cares? Here's what I mean by that. You know when I need a partner? When I'm like looking for a third-party vendor solution? I need a partner when the stuff doesn't work. Or I don't know how to work it. Or I don't know how to make it effective. Or it's breaking down. Or I'm failing or you're failing. That's what I need, a partner. Most of the times, in my opinion. How about this? Here's a vendor for you that I don't need them to be a partner. I don't need to know how it works because I know that it works. And I've never had a problem with them. You know what they're called? FedEx. That's a vendor. Do I need them to be a partner? No. Why? Because it works. Because, they deliver the stuff. I mean, in my opinion, I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, everyone may have their favorite, but pretty darn good overnight, delivery service. You can track it. You know where it's going. Again, what do the customers want? I want to know that my package is going to get there. It's going to get there on time. I want to know where it's at. I can tell my mom, or hey, guess what? The Christmas present's coming, or that letter's coming, or that business document's coming. And it's going to work. I don't need a Christmas card from them. I don't need tchotchkes from them. I don't need to go to a party. I don't need anything. I need to know if I need this mission critical document sent, it's going to show up, or package or whatever like that. That's FedEx. Guess what? Call them a vendor, call them a partner, call them a third party, call them a mailing agency. Doesn't matter. It's great. And FedEx has nothing to do with this video or anything like that. But do you understand? It's the same thing with all these things. Does it do what I want it to do? Which goes back to what? The strategy. Which goes back to what? Understanding your business. Which goes back to understanding your strategy and how to implement it. So when you're talking about these things, these technology plays, whatever, I want the best stuff. I don't want the third-rate one that's my best friend that threw a great party that my 20 group says. That's what I'm talking about, dude. I mean, so think about that kind of talk when we're talking about technology like internet. Hey, I got this fiber optic, 2 gigs up, 2 gigs down. It's perfect. It never goes down. It's always working with it. Or you can use this other thing that the 20 group, my buddy on the 20 group told me about, that everybody uses. The auto, they had a great party at NADA, and I know the rep, and they're cool, and like we were in the same college, fraternity or sorority or club or whatever it is. Yeah, how fast is it? Well, it's like 300 megs a second, whatever. Like, is it always up? Most of the time it is. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. It goes down about 10% of the time, but they're like really good partners. And when it goes down, they like call me and say, John, like, sorry, hey, I'm your partner. I feel your pain and sorry like that. Does it help you sell customers? I mean, it's okay. It's no worse than anyone. It's not, but do you get it? This is what's so partner vendor. What are we talking about? Like, cool. Yeah. Like, it's awesome. Like, if you want someone to care about your business, you want someone to help you. Like, a real partner gives me the best in class solution, custom tailors it for me, calls me up, helps me out and everything like that. Says, hey, John, let me introduce some other business to you. Hey, John, this new thing came out. You really should use this. Here's how it's going to help you. Okay, great. I'll buy into that. But just this vague discussion and very qualitative feeling of partner versus vendor is silliness. Does it work? Does it meet your needs? Does it help you move the ball? Does it address your strategic goals and strategy? Do you know your business? Do you know where you're going? Do you know how you're going to win? Do you understand the best of class? Do you understand what you're trying to do? Can you discern from these different things out there? Why does it all have to all work together? Why do you have to track everything? How about just using the best stuff that's going to actually work for you and your customers without worrying about all the other stuff? And, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's just such a need for this, like, corporate control and this and that and the vetting and the 50 different checks. And, like, I'm not saying that none of that is important. But I'm saying getting lost in those weeds is totally missing the point, in my opinion. And doesn't matter if they send me video or this and that, whatever. If I thought they had the best thing, I'm going to them. I'm chasing them. You got the best thing? Great. You want to take a week off during the holidays? I don't care. Great. I'm here when you're ready, when you're back, because I want the best. I don't want the second best that's going to like do it my way. If they're the best, they don't need to do it my way. I need to do it their way. I need to figure out, sign me up. I want the best. Come on. What are we talking about here? If you don't have the best solutions for your customers, then you can't be the best. You're probably going to be second best, or it's going to be harder to be the best. You're just putting yourself behind the 8 ball. None of this makes sense. Enough about that. I hope I made my point. If I didn't, I'll follow up with it there. But I mean, come on. We had an hour of some of the greatest minds and stuff, and I don't. Listen, maybe this is one of the ways I can help automotive. All right, I'm off my soapbox. I'm on to the next. Okay, so what else are we talking about? We're talking about an update, and we're going to talk about tech. We're going to talk about an update. Okay, next topic. Radio show. Here to announce, not fully, but at least partially, probably going to be launching the radio show. Very, very likely. I've got a sponsor lined up. Show's going to be Mondays. It's going to be at a very, very good time. I will get all the information out here. It's going to start on Mondays. Station wants me to go 5 days a week. I've got to figure out how to work that out. It's going to be in the greater Tampa Bay, Sarasota, Lakeland. From what I understand, I'm not claiming anything. Let me provide a sense. It's going to be in the greater Tampa Bay area. It's going to be on a good station, in my opinion. Very interesting station. And I already have a sponsor lined up for it, and I'm looking for more. And if you're interested, you can contact me on LinkedIn. You can email me, and we'll talk about it. I'm going to be covering. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. I've always talked about what I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about. We're going to talk about automotive, of course. We're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about news talk. We're going to talk about the cool topics of the day. We're going to take your calls. We're going to do live shows. We're going to have the live simulcast. It's going to be awesome. Probably looking, I'm so super busy. I can start anytime I want. Probably looking to start early February. I have to get through this month. I've got in my opinion, family's counting on me. Team's counting on me. I'm not number one stunner, and I've got to do what I do, right? As I like to say, I will be where I need to be when I need to be there, and I figure it out. So that's coming up. If you want to be a guest, if you have topics, if you think you'd be a great guest, if you want to throw out some topics, hit me up, email me, DM me on LinkedIn, drop me a comment. Write me an email. I'm not hard to find. And let's talk about it. I want to talk to some very interesting people. I want to cover tech. I want to cover healthcare. I want to cover business. I want to cover automotive. We're going to talk about all these things. We're going to talk about, what's going on. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a party. It's going to be insightful. It's going to be very knowledgeable, and it's going to be great. So, hopefully it's going to be fun. So we're going to do that. Let's talk about some other stuff too. Let's talk about what's going on with the economy, tech, markets, everything like that. All right, so I think some people say it's going to get super, super bad, let me revise that. Some people say like, hey, it might get worse this year. Other people say, hey, we're in the middle of it. Some people say, oh, we don't have a recession. I mean, who knows? You have all this back and forth. I think this, I don't know, right? I mean, I think it's going to be different than what we've seen before. I think this has hit tech very, very hard. And I think some people said that, I don't know if Elon and other people, like a lot of these tech companies became like political activists and stuff. And it's weird. I mean, again, if you're not adding value, what are you doing? Like, it's not like when I was in technology, it wasn't like this. I mean, it's a little bit like this, not like this. This is like, again, what are you doing when you're adding value? I mean, you can't have all these like cush jobs and I just graduated, I'm making all this crazy money, and I'm all day I'm thinking about my political cause, and I'm on Twitter, I'm going to the cafe, I'm going to the meeting rooms, I'm playing foosball, whatever. Like at some point, that just doesn't work, right? Work is work. Work is hard. You have to add value. That doesn't mean you can't like figure out growth hacks and different ways to leverage and scale and everything like that. But it's not a joke, dude. It's I think we've had this. I mean, you look at FTX. There's so many Twitter files. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. It's like, what was going on? What are people thinking? And I've said it before. I said it in a previous show. Like 2023 is going to be the year that reality reasserts itself, and I think we're seeing that tremendously, right? And if tech was a lot of left stuff in tech, presence, if you will. I mean, tech, I guess, leans left, if you will. But at the heart of it, some leaders, it's very libertarian. It's very much. I don't want to say. How do I say this? A meritocracy. It's something, very much of a capitalist, like entrepreneurship. I mean, almost that Gary V vibe, Patrick Bet-David. I mean, Elon Musk. I mean, you're seeing people that really go out there and want to change the world and work really hard and just really scale up. And so it's almost like you had like just this confusion in people thinking that their jobs are like political active. You want to go do that? Go do that. That's a different thing. That's not tech. That's not venture. That's not like, at the end, at the bottom line is you have to, there's some luck involved and there's some like good timing strategy, but is your company adding value? Does it make sense? Is there there? If you want outsized, gains and compensation, profits, whatever, you need to have outsized value. You need to be disruptive. You need to be dramatically better than everybody else, such that, the consumer's like, hey, this is amazing and it's worth paying for and it's worth paying up for because it's really helping my life, or I like it, or whatever it is. It's an amazing experience, like, an awesome theme park or a great vacation or a super great meal. Like, I'll pay $300 for this meal more so than this $10 meal or $30 meal. It's that kind of thing. And I think that reality is hit very hard. So you're seeing in this recession, other recessions you saw like, okay, well, with the pandemic, like, okay, maybe some construction job, different things, like whatever it is, the Main Street world got shut down, but the Zoom economy, whatever, was still there. Well, now it's almost to some degree somewhat the reverse. And it's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see, what happens as things sort of recalibrate, rebalance. Where does it go from here? And I think that we're in a different time right now. I don't even know everything that I want to say about this, but in some ways, part of me is thinking that we're going to recover faster than we thought. luckily, personally, like I'm doing pretty well, which is good. Definitely working very hard. Definitely see the challenges out there. See the challenges that are going on. Could it get worse? It could get a lot worse. Who knows? But I think like Elon had something out there. So I saw something, I think it was on Bloomberg or something, where it's like, look, people, you can't just be printing money and like people have to work and produce goods and services. Like to the extent that for whatever reason, whether it's a pandemic or quiet quitting or fill in the blank, that people don't want to work, that's problematic, right? Or, things get shut down. So, you have to have people going out there producing goods and services with increased productivity to increase the standard of living, right? And so this is basic economics and stuff. So if people aren't working, or we don't have robots or AI or all of the above, to produce goods and services at high levels of productivity, then things may get bad or go backwards, or there may be, and so what does that look like? Or did things get overheated? I mean, so I think you're going to see certain sectors. People have talked about assets and stuff. Again, I'm not giving anybody advice. I'm just trying to do some analysis and some news and my opinion. It is to say, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I think it's very interesting right now. I don't know. I don't know how this all sorts out. Is 2023 a super tough year? Does it change mid-year? Do we recorrect? Do we see home values and real estate go down to a level that gets people interested in? I mean, how about interest rates? Where do interest rates go? What about policy? What's going to happen with the Republican House? I mean, how does that all work out? It just seems like things got so askew to a large degree, and I don't think it's even necessarily a left-right thing. And I think that things have to rebalance, and it just look. The bottom line is we're all, and this is a much longer conversation. I'm going to wind it down here, but I just want to get to, we're all in this together, right? That's like I said before. There is no two economies, three economies. Yes, there's certain sectors of the economies, whatever like that, but there's one economy, right? And things affect other things. So the idea that, hey, forget about this and we're okay over here, I don't think is like a great approach. I think we have to do things that make sense. I think we have to, have with government, we have to have, it has to be. I've said this before. You have to have responsiveness to the people. You have to have an engaged and informed citizenry. That's Alexis de Tocqueville. You have to have policies that make sense, transparency, open, and all different things, right? And similarly, when the work situation, I think it's important to have pay transparency. I think it's important to pay people, what they're worth. I actually like to overpay rather than underpay. I think it's important to encourage people to grow and develop and be better. And I mean, how about that? I mean, how about hiring the best, and how about continue to evolve them and make them like supercharged and stuff? I mean, how much, if you take your existing workforce and your existing spend and you now 3x that education investment, why don't more companies invest in education, advanced degrees, things like that, loan repayment, whatever, like, I mean, however you want to approach it, right? I'm not saying it's all about education, but if you take what you have and you make that 2, 3, 4, 30%, 20%, 50%, 100%, 2, 3 times more valuable, more effective, how much more valuable is that to you as a company? How much more stable is that? Right, that's one of the biggest problems with the automotive industry is a significantly high turnover, at least on the variable side. And it's like, what? Why? Like, what's going on? And it's pretty much it's very much. I mean, I think it's more widespread around the industry than a lot of people know. And you have to say, what's going on there? Why does it have to be that? Well, that's the way that it is, John. No, it doesn't have to be that way. If you could create a situation where you can truly empower your employees, you can truly empower where they felt like partners, where they had growth paths, where they had ways to move up, where they had ways to learn, where they could really be their own entrepreneurs. and they can really kind of have their own business from the business, and you really empower them in many different ways and allow them to go back to school, or allow them to pay down student loans, or allow them to build their family or buy their first house, whatever it is, right? Whatever those dreams are. And again, you have to understand your people. Then what productivity can you get out of them? What development can you get out of them? What growth can you get out of them? It's just, I think people are missing a major opportunity. That doesn't mean like everybody gets everything and everybody won the lottery. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's different ways to think about this and approach it. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I know how to look at things a certain way and ask certain questions. Anyway, listen, it's that time, so I'm going to wind it down here because I got to get to sleep. Tomorrow's Saturday. It's going to be a big day. I want to eat some food and everything. But I had to get this out there. I want to say, again, congrats to Drew Benson. And shout out to, Gino Walsh, Bruce Cavalli, the Cavalli team out there, NADA. I hope everyone's having a great NADA conference. What did you see out there? How about that? Let's spin that forward. First of all, I'd love to take comments from Ziegler, Sutherland, the rest, see what they think about this. What's out there at NADA? What do you think is the best of class of different vendors? Who's got the best CRM? Who's got the best, video tool out there? Who's got the best, lead gen, whatever you want to call it. Insert and fill in the blank there. Where do you think the automotive business is going to go? I think 2023 is going to be very interesting. I think we're going to see used car values, normalize a lot more. I think you're going to see inventories fill up. I think we're going to see a return to incentives and rebates and things like that. I think you're going to see pricing negotiation, on again. But I don't know how many cars are going to be sold. I think interest rates are going to somewhat. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting year. But something tells me by the end of this year, it's going to look a lot more normal, and we're going to be poised to move forward some way, somehow. I just feel like that's the case. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. Obviously, I'm not making any predictions. I'm not giving financial advice, but that's kind of what it feels like. I think we might see a turn and a pivot around summer. I think the political cost to, a lot of the stuff that's been whatever, the whole where we're at economically and everything has increased. And I think that there's a pivot going on. I think we're seeing that even globally. And I think that, we all need to find a way forward. Like, let's get, I think, but at the same time, like I always think I'm an eternal optimist, right? I'm a super optimist. I think that we always learn from stuff. Right? We don't always learn all the lessons or right, but I think that like there's some things that we've learned and there's some different ways to approach it. That doesn't mean that everyone's rushing back in the office and we're all going to work, 24/7, 365. I think there's something to be said for remote work, a lot to be said for that. I think there's a lot to be said for finding out how to empower your employees and being entrepreneurs there. I think there's a lot to be said for empathetic leaders or truly servant leaders and stuff like that. I think there's a lot to be said for, being able to move around and change jobs and do different things and elevate yourself and doing, and finding that bliss and doing what's important in your life and re-engaging, retouching, getting in touch with family and friends and all that type of stuff. At the same time, I think there's a lot to be said for capitalism and hustle culture and embracing the grind and doing your best and trying to be a champion and whatever you do and all that. And so, it all has to connect and make sense, and that's it. So anyway, I hope that made sense, and I hope that's a good show. So I appreciate you. Thanks for being out there. Look forward to your comments. Look forward to many more updates and more sort of less topics crammed into one show. And hopefully you'll see you and hear me soon on the radio. We'll see, knock on wood or something like that. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you later. Thanks so much. I'm John D. Villarreal. Thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Also, not tomorrow. I'll see you when I see you. Have a great night. Have a good weekend.